Hey everybody, it's Father Edward Looney here, and I'm excited to bring you along on my journey to Our Lady of Walsignham. So, I've been to Marian apparition sites all throughout the world. I've been to Champion, Wisconsin. Of course, it's right in my backyard, living in Wisconsin. Also been to Lourdes, Fatima, Guadalupe, Rudabach, Knock, Pontmain. The list is endless. How many Marian apparition sites? And then if you throw in shrines, how many shrines I've been to as well. So one of the things I've always kind of noticed about going to a shrine, and especially if I'm unfamiliar with it, is just the experience of the pilgrim when they go there. So when I'm at a shrine and I look at some people, even today we were at Canterbury, and some people just walked right up to the spot where Thomas Becket was martyred, took their picture, didn't pause, just kept walking. Like, to me, they weren't able to appreciate it. So, my experience of Our Lady of Walsignham, I haven't had it yet. And actually, to be completely honest, I don't know anything about Our Lady of Walsignham. I know a few little facts. For example, I know that it's an apparition. I know that there's two shrines there, one that's Catholic and one that is Protestant. I know there's a slipper chapel, and in my noggin, for whatever reason, I knew her feast day was September 24th. But I've never seen pictures. I've seen the image of Our Lady of Walsingham, that she's seated on a throne. I think she maybe even has the Christ child. But I don't know anything about the church. I don't know anything about the message or the apparition. And so really, I'm going to this shrine blind. I'm doing it purposely because I want to see if this shrine communicates to me the message of Our Lady of Walsingham, and if it really helps me to enter into prayerful conversation with Our Lady as a pilgrim. So this is, for me, the highlight of being here in England right now, is simply going to Walsingham. And I invite you to journey with me as I continue to drive there, and we'll pull into the parking lot and be able to pray at this holy site that the English people have honored Our Lady at for many, many years. How many? I don't know, because I don't know when the apparition took place. I have arrived in Walsingham, and let me tell you, the last 10 minutes of that drive was like driving to any Marian apparition site. Middle of nowhere. You're like, where am I? It is so remote. The roads were like that. And so I'm in Walsingham again. Don't know much about it, but people have given me little hints along the way. In fact, when we were at a rest stop, I texted a friend that lives in London, and I said, hey, I'm in London on Sunday and Monday. Would you like to get together? I'm going to Walsingham right now. And he said, enjoy England's Nazareth. I guess that's a little hint. I don't know. I'm thinking it has to do with the House of Nazareth, but again, not really sure. So very much looking forward to walking around this little town, finding the shrines, and learning the story. Another curious thing that I've learned about Walsingham, without knowing, again, anything about it, is there's a chapel called the Slipper Chapel. And I'm trying to create the narrative in my head of what the Slipper Chapel might be. You know, for me, thinking of stories like Maria Becco, I thought, well, maybe the Slipper Chapel is maybe a place where Our Lady walked with the visionary and her slipper fell off. Maybe the slipper was even there. I guess I'm wrong, so I can't wait to find out what the Slipper Chapel really is. The story of Our Lady of Walsingham is a rather simple one. It's the story of a young woman named Racheldis, who was taken by Our Lady in a vision and brought to see the house of Nazareth. And Our Lady asked Racheldis in 1061 to have the house of Mary built here in England. And so Racheldis took to heart those words of Our Lady, that request, and specifically, Our Lady told her, all who seek me there will find succor. All who seek me there will find help. And since 1061, since the construction of the little house, people have come to this place in Walsingham, kings and clergy, lay people, and they've asked for Our Lady's help. All who seek her here will find succor. And so that's what a pilgrim does when they come here. Now, the story of Our Lady of Walsingham continues. There was the great persecution and the destruction of Catholic priories and abbeys and churches during the reign of King Henry VIII. And so this place of Walsingham, suppressed for many, many years, ruins, the original statue of Our Lady said to be burnt. But in the 1900s, it was rebuilt, welcoming pilgrims once again. That's the story of Our Lady's little visit here to Walsingham, to a woman, Rakeldis, asking for a holy house to be built here so that people might find their home with Our Lady. When I visit a Marian shrine, one of the things that I particularly do is I spend as much time as possible with Our Lady. So if it's in Lourdes, France, I'll spend time at the grotto. If it's in Champion, down in the Apparition Oratory. If it's in Fatima, at the Cova de Ira. And so here in Walsingham, I've prayed a few rosaries over my 2-day stay here and spent that time with the Blessed Mother in that little home of Nazareth as they've constructed here in England. To spend time with Our Lady. That's the purpose of going to a Marian shrine. A pilgrim to Walsingham will visit 2 shrines in particular. The first would be that of the Anglican shrine, and really that would be the principal place to visit, because that is where the Holy House, England's Nazareth, is located. That's where the statue of Our Lady is enshrined, and you can spend time in prayer. You might be curious, though, an Anglican shrine to Our Lady. Well, of course, the Anglicans took possession of the shrine, but for a person who might just make their way here, they might think they're at a Catholic shrine. Because as you walk around the grounds, you'll see the Way of the Cross. You'll find a chapel to the Holy Souls and remembering our beloved dead. You'll see Catholic saints like St. Therese and St. John Vianney. They will have Eucharistic adoration in the Anglican tradition. They celebrate a service that looks like the Catholic Mass. And so you might be a little taken aback, thinking, am I here in a Catholic place? In fact, at one of the Masses that I overheard, they prayed for our Holy Father, Pope Francis. Very curious to me. But this is the Anglican shrine. And the Anglican shrine is the place where the house is and a place where one should go on their visit to Walsingham. When King Henry VIII dissolved the monasteries and also this shrine, when it was rebuilt in the 1900s, they put pieces, little fragments of the different monasteries and churches that were destroyed, and they're displayed as you enter through one of the doors. In Walsingham, the first shrine was here at this Augustinian priory. That's where Our Lady appeared to Rakeldis, and where the pilgrims would walk from the Slipper Chapel to this location. Today it is a bunch of ruins, again because of Henry VIII. And in the 1900s was when the new Anglican shrine and the new house of Our Lady was built here in Walsingham. While the Anglican Church possesses a replica of what would have been Mary's house, England's Nazareth, the Roman Catholic shrine to Our Lady of Walsingham is perhaps the one that is more ancient and venerable. Because at this chapel, known as the Slipper Chapel, not because Our Lady left her slipper here, but because people would leave their shoes and they would walk the last mile to the Augustinian priory where the original house of Mary was. They would walk barefoot in imitation of the pilgrims in the Holy Land. And so for years, this was done again until the grounds and everything was suppressed by King Henry VIII in 1538. What happened here then was that the Slipper Chapel became a barn for animals, no longer used for the worship of God and for prayers to Our Lady for the pilgrim. The Slipper Chapel and the property was bought by a woman who at the time was an Anglican, but as she was converting to Catholicism, entrusted what would become today once again as the Slipper Chapel to the Catholic Church. And that's why we're able to visit the Slipper Chapel in the footsteps of Catholic pilgrims who have come to honor Our Lady for many years. It opened again in the 1900s, much like the Anglican Church, and now is a center of devotion for Roman Catholics today. Today, the grounds of the Slipper Chapel has another larger chapel, the Chapel of Our Lady of Reconciliation. And it's this chapel that recently was elevated to that of a basilica, emphasizing the historical significance of devotion to Our Lady of Walsignham. There are many different symbols in the church that indicate that it is a basilica. This Roman Catholic shrine to Our Lady of Walsingham is indeed a place where pilgrims come seeking the help of Mary, help that she promised to Rakeldus so many years ago. I have been to the shrine of Our Lady of Walsingham, both the Anglican one and the Roman Catholic one. Before I got to Walsingham, I knew very little, but now I feel like I know the story of it. When someone told me that it was England's Nazareth, I didn't know what that meant. I thought possibly it was they had a relic of the Holy House of Nazareth or from Loretto. But now I know that it's because Our Lady appeared to Rakeldus and gave her the dimensions of the home, and then it was built. It was at the priory of the Augustinians there in Walsingham, but then it was devastated by King Henry VIII. And as a result, the devotion to Our Lady of Walsingham had to be spread in secret and in private devotion, something orally told to generations, so that in the 1900s, both Anglicans and Catholics would come together again in their respective places with devotion to Our Lady of Walsingham. There's something beautiful about the fact of thinking about Nazareth and Our Lady's fiat and the Annunciation and how important that is, especially to the story of Our Lady of Walsingham. It's easy for me to go to Walsingham. I booked a flight, I landed in Heathrow, I hired a car, or rented a car, we would say, and I drove there. But for the English people for centuries, they would walk there. They wouldn't be able to go to the Holy Land. That was even more difficult for them. But Our Lady brought the Holy Land. Our Lady brought Nazareth to them so that they could enter into the place where the Word was made flesh at the very moment of the Annunciation. The shrine of Our Lady of Walsingham is quite beautiful because it's Our Lady inviting us into her home, and then we invite her into our home, the home which is our heart. I know that Our Lady of Walsingham has been welcomed into my heart, and that as I have visited her shrine there, she will be enshrined there for me for the rest of my life.